In the getting things done methodology, we use contexts a lot to organize different types of lists based basically on where you are, what you have available to you, and how you're doing at the time. It helps create focus on what you can actually do moment to moment. But in reality, with so many people working from home these days, it can feel like you're in one big context all the time. Fortunately, that's not true. Actually, contexts haven't gone away. In many ways, they've just gotten more subtle. Many people feel like their work and home life has just kind of been squished together like a big ball of clay. And look, I understand that certainly. But in reality, the work and home context are still, for many people, a great thing to keep as distinct, separate lists of possible next actions you could take so that, basically you don't give inappropriate attention to one or at the expense of the other. And so that you can actually switch between different things you're focusing on when it's time to switch. Now, work may seem like it's just one big, huge ball now, as we talked about, but in reality, there are a lot of things you can do, even when you're working from home at potentially long stretches, all more or less by yourself now, to help focus yourself appropriately. One of the things to look at is your own levels of energy. So for me, I have a context called writing. I often do it in my office, and yes, I still have some of those other contexts, but writing for me is a particular type of activity that takes a particular type of energy and focus for me. So often I do my best writing in the morning. So I had a kind of a deep thinking context, just a context where it's like, look, I need to focus on some of these deeper thinking types of things. Writing code. For many people, calls is still a context. Yes, you have a phone with you all the time, but do you always feel like making an outbound call? Not necessarily. Where you are is physically going to be always the same now, right? For at least a while. However, where you are can also represent, in some ways, what sort of tool set you have available to you. So what's available to you, or what have you dialed into effectively, right? So are you signed into the VPN? Are you signed into Salesforce and working on Salesforce opportunities? Are you on a break? And some people like to have a context where they go, look, I'm going to take a break, step outside, and make a few calls. That's where I like to make my calls, is when I stepped outside. Speaking of outside, is there an outside context? Stuff you can do when the sun, if there is sun, hopefully is glaring on your screen, but that you can still be productive with and get a bit of fresh air, because we could all stand to be in our own back gardens at a safe distance from others. From time to time, right? It's a change of scene. Any kind of change of scene can be helpful. And then there's that really big context that you're going to want to look at. Call it post-pandemic, call it after the lockdown, call it when I return to the office. But that's a context into which you need to put all those things that you're renegotiating. So you can tell yourself, look, we're not able to focus on that now. We're not able to do a lot of these things now. These are going to have to wait for a certain period of time, and we're not exactly sure how long, but we will get back to them. We will get back to them, and right now that frees us up to focus on what we can do, what we can control, what we have said we would do and is important in the current circumstances, acknowledging that what is simply is. Signs are hopeful that we're going to all get through this, that we're going to, kind of return to different ways of working. And right now, this is a really, in a way, a creative opportunity for you to know yourself better, to know how you work and what the contexts are for you without these kind of external distinctions going on. So good context can create focus for you. And frankly, I think we all could use some of that right now.